Um, yes. So, hi everyone. Busy? Hope you had a good holiday. How was your holiday? Hmm? Yeah, I met him a lot of times. Then you working? Anyway, just quick. See, I know for some of you guys, this is a bit cloudy, but I will make it very easy for you to do, guys. I'll give you some hints. So, but I want you to be more cautious about using the techniques. You need to just use your mind carefully or work. Carefully when you read the questions of the business report, and you have to use the right technique. You want to work out a little bit on your data and open a couple of files. What happened with this? Yeah. So, so that will help you to address the question very fast, very easy. So I will try to explain some stuff for you during the tutorial question, during the model 8 today or material today, and after because we have just very easy chi-square model 8 is very easy. So after finishing chi-square, I'll go through the business report and try to give you some hints. Alright, so quick review about what we have done last week. ANOVA, single factor, and compare two means. So this is important in the business report and final exam. Single factor, as you know, it's important because we are not that much complex. We try to give single factor independent. So if it's single factor and independent, in your business report, there is one question asking to find some differences about single factor, which is cost of bid. So if such a question is allocated like this, so you have to use single factor, ANOVA, single factor, run data analysis, single factor, and highlight input. Right? So, and you got the summary. I will show you how to address it. But not for this specific question of our business report, no, for our tutorial question. We have two tutorial questions. One for single factor, ANOVA, we're going to use F, MST, all right, and MSE, divide by to get F. And what we have to do, we have to check F critical. F greater than F some value. V1 or V2. Which table is that? In the appendixes?
Yeah, distribution table.
Which one is that? Number 5?
Number
5?
Which
table is that?
Which confidence level or which significance level?
Which table? Number
6.
6 or
5.
6,
Values
right?
of the F distribution.
You
Table
agree
6.
about 6?
Does anyone agree?
Table number 6.
I hope I've got the right table.
So guys, I want
we're
you.
looking at T1. What are you talking about?
So I wanted to get more than 20. Listen, guys, I want you to get more than 20 in business report. Otherwise, it will be very sad for me. Because I'm going to through this one. Anyway, there is one question in the business report. Ask you to address the stuff using single factor. Like when you check the time to address or to fill the form. So you have a couple of forms, couple of industries, and one time to find, for example, cost of equity, not cost of debt. Right? All right, guys. So that's for the treatment. For the single factor, we have randomized block design. This technique, it will give you the difference within the treatment and blocks. So, do you remember last week exercise during the class when we have done? I recorded the listening to the radio, channel 7 or something like that, by teenagers, something like this in some states. There is 4 treatments and 30 blocks. Do you remember it? This is last week's exercise. Anyway, we're going to have one comprehensive exercise for treatment and for randomized block design. But this is the material of our last week material, model 7. That's all the, you have to find the F for both, for block and for treatment. There's some differences because you're going to have a block, right, and treatment, right? So MSE, how to get it. Also same table. You can see the critical value for the ANOVA, analysis of variance, and for our today model chi-square. Same structure of critical value. F greater than some value. Chi-square greater than, all greater than some value. There is no equal or less than, just greater than. This is a note for you guys, right? So in the business report, I'll show you these steps within the tutorial question. So today we have 2 comprehensive exercises. So first one, 15, number 5. So let's have 5 minutes reading time. No worries. And try to think about it, because this is very important for you. Very important. New business report and final exam. Be careful.
Not this one.
So, yeah. All good? Or if you guys have a question? All right. Be careful about this question. because it will be very important for you. So, sorry, it is an important call for the exam. Just try to address the question by yourself.
Okay. Cool. So, what are we doing? And the hypothesis is that mu1 equals mu2 equals mu3 equals mu4. I think.
Yeah, just put one. Really sorry for this one. I don't know information. So just let them answer anyone. So we'll be fine. So, please, before you start addressing the question, you have to understand the requirements. So what they need in here, they need to see the differences. Compare the time for filling any one of these 4 forms. So maybe there are could be some differences between in terms of the time to fill all of this field. So this is between, right? That's one, is it, what we call it? Treatments, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember when we put treatments between the forms or between the products? Or last week exercise, it was advertising, market campaign, right? So they use
Like a marketing strategy.
market price. So it was 3 treatments, right? So now we're going to have 4 treatments, right? So form 1, form 2, form 3. Just we want to address the difference between these 4 treatments in terms of the time to fill this form, differences in terms of time to fill this form. So what do you think? Which one is that? So what I want you to do in your business report and then final exam, I want you to see, on final exam it will be something different. Some differences in terms of the structure. Anyway, I'll let you know because we have one class to revise all the material of final exam. So also I already released I think I make it hidden. Anyway, I will release the mock exam material and I will show you how to address another question. Anyway, so in the business report, what I want you to do, you have to report define parameters of interest at the beginning. You said it's independent, single factor, ANOVA, something like that. And then you put the condition if there is equal and unequal variance, and then you say n mean mu1 equal to mean mu2, that's the null hypothesis, right? And that means you put the hypothesis. After hypothesis, you run and use the tables. Single factor or two-way ANOVA? One way or two-way ANOVA? One way ANOVA, single factor. In the Excel, it's a function single factor, right? I'll show you how to do it. So we have 4 treatments. I want to see the difference between this in terms of the time to fill this 4 treatments. Form 1, form 2, form 3, and form 4. Right? After that, find the F. Find F, MST divided by MSE, and then critical. That is the steps. I will show you how to address it. So after the critical, you find the critical value compared with F and C. Decide reject or accept null hypothesis. Right? After that, you put your conclusion. We reject null hypothesis because this. we accept, we don't reject null hypothesis because this. Depends on the nature of the question. Right? So you can see independent for like this. I want you to do like this. Independent 4 samples of people filling forms. So can you link it to your business report if you review it, guys, before? So in business report, I ask you to find some differences in terms of cost of debt between these 3 different industries. Customer discretionary material and communication. Right? If you remember, I asked you this question exactly. Ask you to find the differences. With this question, you have to use single ANOVA and you have to report the histogram for 3 industries. Histogram for these 3 types of industries. You create bill for each industry, cost of debt, and just run. That's it. Got it, guys? So the second step to write down the hypothesis after defining here, based on the requirement of this exercise, guys, we need to check the condition later, step 2B. All right? But in the business report, I want you to put the condition after the definition of the parameters of interest, after this yellow slide in your business report. You put here equal or unequal variance, the variance condition. It has to be satisfied.
After step 1?
I'm not too strict, but it's better it's better to report it after the step 1. Here, you define the parameters of interest. You put the satisfied condition, equal or unequal variance, and then put the hypothesis in here, minimum. But I think we have just 3, right? In our business report? 3, right? And then see the table, the report, see what happened with the condition. So single factor, run. I'll show you how to use this material of this. Right? And find MST and MSE, because otherwise you can't find the F critical. Right? And then see you're going to reject because F critical less than F in here. Right? F critical, see F equal to 2 point. So F critical less than F. Just on separate sheet, draw down on separate sheet and see whether you're going to reject or accept an hypothesis. I don't want you to show me how to find. No, calculation is important. I want you to write even the formula. I want you to know the formula. This is important. Everything I want everything. But when you run the analysis single factor, they will give you F critical. I don't want you to use this F critical. I want you to use the one from the book. This is second step. You have to find on our exercise in here. You have to find the condition, whether it's equal or unequal variance, and then histogram. With histogram, you have to have 3 histograms in our business report because we have 3 different industries. Sorry, I can't say it's related to which question. That's a bit difficult. But it's clear now, I think. Right? So if we open the exercise, the material of this, listen what I'm going to do. listen carefully, please. So in our business report material, we put cost of it in one column, right? 300 observations. Listen carefully, guys. In our business report, we put cost of it in one column. But there's another column here, industry type, 1, 2, 3. What you have to do, you have to control index, you have to control and just sort by industry and copy it. Open a new one in here. For example, you have cost of debt in here, right? I'll show you how to do it. This is cost of debt. But we have here industry type. Industry type, for example, right? What you have to do, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So you have cost of debt for all industries in one column. What you have to do, you have to control in here, sort by, go here, filter. Just one, okay? So you have, for example, a couple of observations. You copy it and put it in one, in here, right? Say this one, this one, for example, for cost of debt for consumer discretionary, right? This. Okay, and put it all these three in here. So you put this one for because this one discretionary according to your report, right? You know, are you with me, guys? Clear? Put it. Go back to this one, another one. Which one, another one? And put it like in every industry in one column. It will be 3. Discretionary, material, telecommunication. Because you want to run single factor. To see the effect between. Because I provided to you in one column. But there is another column, industry type. You have to sort or filter by industry for each type. And make it 3. And instead of 1, make it 3. That's it. Got it? Clear, guys? Then, make the other one in here. So here, copy it. And put it in with the same sheet in here. Call it material. And the other one, call it, right? That's it. So, once you got these 3 industries, what you have to do to find MSE and MST and stuff and variance and equivariance and equivariance stuff. So what you have to do, data analysis, given that it's independent to test the difference between, in terms of cost of it, between 3 industries, that means you're going to have single factor, one way ANOVA. So go to the single factor, ANOVA single factor, see? ANOVA single factor. Put the range of the data, all, you're going to have 3, right? Table. Put it in here, for example. Okay. So you're going to have like this exactly. Right? This is for our example, not for the business report. Don't take photo of it. Right? But you're going to have same exactly like this. We ask to find the difference in time to fill the form between 3 different treatments. Form 1, Form 2. 3 different industries. Industry 1, Industry 2, Industry 3. Clear? Any question about it? You have to do additional things with these questions. Exactly with this question you have to do. So you don't have questions.
Okay. We are allowed to, can I just confirm, we're allowed to take SS values from that.
Yeah, but I want you to
MS
show me.
values we have to calculate.
Yeah, but I want you to show me how to calculate. I want to see the formula.
But we don't have to do the
No,
actual
put the numbers. I want you to put the numbers.
Okay.
Because it's already with you. But I want you to show me how to calculate this one.
So we have to do calculations for both SS and MS.
For sure, I want the formula.
Okay.
How to calculate, because I want you guys to remember the formula on how to find MS, E, and ST. So just extra steps, but it's already with you guys. Right?
So that means we have to calculate the grand mean as well.
In the business, in final exam, I'll hide some number. Oh, by the way, critical value prohibited to be used. Never. You have to use the one from the book, but for all the significant levels, not just for one. Because I want you to show me whether you're going to accept or reject no hypothesis based on.
There's no
I want
10% in the book.
That's right. If there is no 10%. I think it will be available, but next, not this table, next table. It's not within the material of 5. Right? You sure not? I think there's no.
I'm pretty sure it's not in there.
Yeah, it's
5, 1, but 1%, 5%, but no 10%. I think.
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah. No, that's fine. Anyway.
Just do 2.
Just. Distribution. Yeah. Anyway, use the 10 from the Excel.
Okay.
I want 10.
The document.
Excel.
You want 10? Because the document says don't do 10 at the bottom, like in the footnotes.
Yeah.
But it's not. I wasn't sure.
In the exam material?
In the.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. You're not going to reduce it. So try to add it to another. It's a bonus, right? If you use the Excel sheet. Excel function material. All right. So with this question, I want you to provide. Don't forget to create bin for each industry. You can open three. For example, you address that specific question, and you just open 3 another Excel sheets and put the flow chart for first industry in one here and name it. Flow chart for industry 1. Flow chart for industry 2. Flow chart for industry 3 with the third one, right? So once you've done that, so it's easy to copy it, but before you copy, you have to use the function reduce gap width. You remember it? Make it 0. I don't want to see any gaps between the columns. And don't make it in one page for each histogram. So like what they have done before. So make it in one page, all of these 3, but just mention me as additional appendixes to this, that specific question, the histogram for one, put the average, put the mean from the stuff, and put the histogram, and put the another histogram, but name it. This is one, this one, this is 2, this is, with average and mean, something like with average, that's it. Right? With the average or another stuff, like variance or stuff, so. Right? Clear? So do you have any question about first exercise? So I think we have another condition in here. Largest variance divided S divided by small s. So to see whether the variance is equal or not. So after the calculation, we find it's less than 1.5. That means an equal variance. So we make the condition. Histogram, I want it like this. But don't put all of this information here, guys. No need. I will just mean and standard deviation if you want. That's it. I don't want you to put all the stuff. Put it in here if you can. Like histogram for industry 1, for example, with mean mu equal to this and standard deviation equal to this. That's it. I'll put it all on one page. Don't put every histogram on one page to fill this 16 pages. Don't do that. So we know all the steps of. Alright? So now, do you have any question about first exercise, guys? Question? Done? Link it to your business report. Clear now? Try to make it blah blah blah. It's in one column. Try to filter it based on column and copy and paste, copy and paste. Make it 3, run, and find the summary and stuff. It's clear now, right? Go to 15.46. Have 5 minutes reading time. It's within block design. Confusing? No? Not confusion, right? Clear now. Okay. Okay, no worries. Clear, guys? Yeah. You want water? It's not for me. Yes. Just remind me, please, if you don't have a question. 3 or 2? Remind me, please, don't stay without questions. Yeah, we're reading for the next exercise. 15.45, exercise 46. Easy, right? Statistics? Right? Easy. Fundamentals of statistical analysis and accounting, right? We're going to have another sweet model today, chi-square. Very nice model. But the stuff will be clear, not that much complex. I'll do the quality of things. Right?
process.
So try to follow the steps. Define the parameters of interest. Parameter like which sort of ANOVA, like it's randomized block design on treatments between the forms. So in this question, they ask very few people to fill the forms. That means n equal to 120, right?
Yep.
Number of observation. So if it's 30 pupil, right? And 4 treatments, that means we're going to have randomized block design. We have block and treatments, right? Like what we have done last week, exactly, I think, right? We have the one when they record the time to listening to the radio or something like that, and they record the data, which is quantitative data. Quantitative data, you have to say that also in your business report. Randomized block design, or the first one, which is the most important one. And here, maybe this one will be important in final exam. So I will give you the output, but I will hide some value at MST, MSE, MSB, and I will ask you to find, even I will hide maybe some value from different degree of freedom, or if it will be totally omitted, 100%. So I want you to use the, but don't forget in final exam, you have to have your textbook with you. And you have to have the one cheat sheet. I will release the exam, final exam material maybe next week, or depend based on your unit outline. I think next week or the week after. So no, it's not allowed to print the appendixes and take it with you. So otherwise, it will be a big problem. I won't be in because it will be called by the university. So I won't be in. So just they will hand out the final exam papers to me to mark it out and release you. But I'll be with you till the end of the semester, till before the exam. I'll organize some extra hours for you guys to have, if you have some for extra hour for consultation. If you have any question, you can come down and ask me. All right? So here, randomized block design. So what you have to do, you have to report that as like this. This is randomized block design, two-way ANOVA. How to use two-way ANOVA? If you remember last week, I told you the steps. Data analysis, data analysis, and histogram.
Oh, histogram.
Two-way, and it's directly two-way. We have treatments, 4 treatments, 30 pupil to fill the form. So three treatments and 30 blocks, right? So you have to be careful, guys. It's like this. Where's the question? It's 15 point. Last one. See? So that's the. So now we're gonna have additional. Sorry. So we're gonna have additional column to report to confirm that we have 30 taxpayer asked to fill the forms, right? So not just form to see the treatments, but within this question you have to address both the treatment between and blocks, right? So which one is that? Which data? I mean the procedure data analysis, two-way without replication, right?
Without the which?
No, without. Without. So it will be given in a final exam for you guys. I'll show you how to do the final exam. Wait. Labels out. Blah. Oh, sorry. Did something wrong.
You lost the data.
Okay, sorry. Because I want to be very fast. No time. So this one will be provided. So, but in the final exam, I will just give you maybe 15 observations. So you don't have time to do a lot of calculation. Maybe less than 10. So not 30. It's too much. So I'll give you 8 to 10. So it's easy to calculate, right? So I will give you this one here. So you have rows, columns, errors, and what you have to find. For example, I will hide some values. So blocks, treatments, and error, and total. I will hide one of these, or maybe two. I don't know, but no, I'm not that much complex. I'll hide a couple. I'll hide the rows, for example, or columns. Depends. I'll hide both F. You have to find it, right? And F critical. You have to find it from the textbook. That's the material of final exam for the ANOVA question. So I'll provide you with the Excel output, but I will try. So what you have to do, you have to go to the, you have to find the steps. With the treatments, we have 4 treatments in here, meaning mu equal to 4 treatments. So we have to find MST and MSE, right? And you have F critical, compare, but you have to calculate this first. So for the treatments. It depends on the, in final exam, depends on the question. Maybe it will be treatment, just treatment. Maybe it will be treatment, and so it depends on the question, but not that much complex. You don't need to do a lot of stuff, but you have to, if there is columns, rows, errors, that means it's, you have to be, understand that this is referred to the mass block design. That means I have to find MSE, MST, MSB, and I have to find F for treatment and blocks, and I have to find the F critical based on the 3 significant levels. Right? It depends. Maybe I'll ask you just to find at once. It depends on the structure of the question. We have one day to revise all the material of the final exam requirements. We'll go through the models. I'll show you how to address, so it'll be fine. It'll be easy, right? So MST, that's for treatments, but I will provide you with the Excel as I said to you. So again, you have to use the table D1 and D2, table 6, as I showed it to you last week. So that's F, MST. After calculation, we find MST equal to 1402.03, and MSE also 66.25, and that's F value 21, and F critical equal to 4 point. That means F greater than, that's the rejection region, right? Reject, because F greater than F critical. Right? That's for treatments. 4 treatments, right? If you check the other, because you have to find the block, so you can find theory. have very taxpayer asked to fill the forms. Right? Cross section 30. Blocks. Critical region will be a little bit different. Even here we're going to have not MST, MSB. Different formula, additional stuff. Divided by MSE. So we could have to calculate it. Once you calculate the numbers, so I will hide some of these values. I put just question mark. You just write the formula and put the right numbers. And double check again maybe if you don't do some mistakes. Right? So F equal MSB. That's how to calculate MSB. And MSE errors will be same for both. So F equal to MSB, so it will be 66.02. And F critical 1 point. So what's the rejection region will be at 1%? They ask for 1% in the question, right?
Yeah.
So the rejection region will be to reject null because F greater than F critical. We meet the condition of rejection region. Right? If you don't have time, take a photo for it. And because we don't have a lot of things to do.
It will be on the blackboard, right?
For sure.
This one?
If you don't have a space in your phone, it will be on the blackboard. Right? So we are now a bit advanced. No need to go and check table 6 and stuff. So do you have any question about the? Be careful about the first one in your business report. Do you have any question about the ANOVA stuff? All good? So today let's have a quick review about our today material, model number 8. So at least we have to check the transcript. Where's the stuff? Do you remember during Model 5 we have continuous and we have which is quantitative and we have qualitative, right? So qualitative we use P, and to address any P issue to find the critical region, we use Z. Do you remember that? So null hypothesis was equal to P and P equal to D, modified. Do you remember? And alternative hypothesis was equal to P greater than D for some value, or less than some value, or between two values. Do you remember it? Do you remember that one? P greater than some value, D, or less than or different than some values. That's a critical region because it was qualitative. Why qualitative? Because we define our sample into 2-3 different categories, for example, or one category. So in model 6, we had 2, for example, population proportion. You remember it? P1 minus P2 equal to 0, right? You remember it? Model 6, P1 minus P2 equal to 0. That's for null hypothesis. And for alternative hypothesis, it was P1 minus P2 greater than or 0, less than 0, different than 0. Do you remember it, guys? That's model 6. I'm talking about qualitative. I'm talking about the proportion, not continuous T and other. Also, we use Z, whether it depends on the equal or unequal variance, if you remember it. Right? But in some specific conditions. So when we address the what they call it, the location of the t or mean value between two locations, if you remember, t plus or less than some t greater than or alpha, and do you remember this calculation? X bar plus or minus some value to find the location of the t. Do you remember it? That's some sort of. I just want you guys to understand that today we're gonna address the issues with qualitative data. Last time during Model 6 and Model 5 and Model 6, we used to use the Z. Today we're gonna use Z, but we address the P, population proportion. Today we're gonna use chi-square. What's the difference with chi-square or with the proportion? We have to have the two outcomes, right? This is the binomial characteristics. But in here we're gonna have more than one outcome, which is K. We will go and address it step by step. Chi-square, we have two important things to address. If we have one proportion sample, that means we're going to use multinomial, single factor of proportion, 1p. If you have 1p, like study or survey to find the stock price, right? Stock price, one, right? And here we're going to use multinomial experiment, which there is some steps and formula to address. But if we have more than 1p, product 1, product 2, product 3, right? So that means we're going to have contingency table. So we have to have the expected value, the observed value, and other things. Right? So single p or single proportion, that means we're going to use multinomial. If we have, that means one parameters of interest, we're going to use multinomial experiment. If we have more than p1, p2, p3, two or more than sample factor, that means we're going to have single population. We use with single population we use multinomial, and with two or more populations, that means we're going to use contingency table. It's very easy to use it. So remember what you have to do. What you have to do, even in your business report, you have to report that all the parameters of interest, like qualitative data, like multinomial or contingency table, you have to report that at the first. If you have one population, use multinomial. See, one population, right? Use multinomial experiment. If you have two, depends on the question. Two or more, use contingency table, right? So we're going to have some exercises to address this one. In both cases, we have to find chi-square. In both, we have to find. But with multinomial single factor or single population, we're going to use one formula. With this one, we're going to use another formula. Different formula, right? Because we're going to have one population with the first one, using table number 5, and we're going to address this stuff with it. Also, we're going to use with contingency table, we're going to use to find x or chi-square critical, which is greater than something, as I told you at the beginning. So the critical region will be same, but we use f here, we're going to use chi-square, right? chi-square. So with chi-square test multinomial experiment, we have to in the business report. So what we have to do with the first one, qualitative data. Qualitative data. In our business report, Big Four audit is it qualitative or quantitative data? Why? Because it's not a percentage, it's two categories. Audited by Big Four or not audited by Big Four? Right? But here we're going to have single population. So we have to report single population, qualitative data, and so on and so forth. So multinomial experiment studied is an extension of binomial, as I told you. We used to use Z. Here we're going to have chi-square. But with that one, if you remember, N independent trials, and here we're going to have K categories. That means in here we have K outcomes, right? And instead of two outcomes with the binomial, if you remember it. That's some characteristics. So probability of Pi equal to I, because the sample in our experiment represent all the sample space, so it has to be equal to 1, right? It's same with what we have done before. Multinomial experiment is a binomial, and instead of the outcomes, it will be more than 2. That's some characteristics. Hypothesis involved, so we're going to use some specific hypothesis. So in here, please have a review this exercise. Review this exercise, and I'll show you how to. All right. So what we have in here, we have two competing companies, A and B, have conducted aggressive advertisement campaigns for the federal election next May or June. Next June or July. Federal election, right? So campaign. So A and B, they have to find the market shares, right? Before they already reported market shares for company A company B and the other rest of the companies. That means P1, P2, and P3. But what we have? Market shares, right? To state the effect of blah blah blah, here's the question. Is there insufficient evidence to infer that the proportions, right? Proportions have changed since the advertisement components were implemented. So what we have in here, we have one single population that is market shares, right? For sure, with me guys? One single population. Data is qualitative, right? Because the number is the proportion in each category. So we have the frequency. So because they do survey, after the survey they provide us with the proportion, right? Qualitative represent the frequency in each.
So, John, could you explain why is the brand preferences the population? Is the market for this product the population, or the?
No. See, they have an advertisement, right? It's
Yeah.
a campaign.
Yeah.
They did survey.
Yeah.
After the survey, they calculate. I prefer this one, A, B, C. So they calculate the frequency.
Yeah.
This is the frequency. So that's why we say qualitative data. It's a frequency. Because once you did survey, you have to have 5 categories, for example. So with the 5 categories, you're going to have, because you have to clean your data with Excel, for example, sheet, you have to have the frequency, right? So that's why frequency, because categories. If you have categories, that means you have qualitative. It's not quantitative like total assets for firm A equal to this firm. It's called quantitative. But for qualitative, because we have see 3 categories. So you prefer this category, this category, this category. So after cleaning the data, we have the frequency in each category. That's why we say qualitative. It's not a continuous numbers. It's qualitative, right? It's not. We call it categorical numbers, not a quantitative or numerical, right? This is a model 1. If you go back to the, I think it's well explained in the model 1, the revision for model 1. It's well explained. Go back and see it, right? So we have the number is qualitative. It represents the frequency in each category. You have 3 categories. Data sorted between 3 categories. So firm, multinomial. So we have one single population that is market shares, right? So that is the structure of the guys. That is the structure of the hypothesis. So once you got any a question of hypothesis, I mean the chi-square or qualitative questions, you have to, and single factor or single population, you have to say P1 equal to, that's the frequency of P1, frequency of P2, all equal to 1, because it represents sample space, right? Remember that. You have to meet this condition. We call it rule of 5. I'm going to explain it to you guys, right? So, right? So if you go back to the question, so we have 200 observation, right? The total number n equal to the question, guys. We have, all right, 200 times 45, 40, and 15 to see the population in part, a pupil prefer part A or product A, pupil prefer, which is 90, right? 80, right? Pupil prefer this product equal to P1, this one, 91. Pupil prefer 200 from the question, number of observation times the data provided, which equal to 40, expected the frequency. So 80 people prefer product 2, which is P2, this one, and the rest, right, of the others, right? So that is the null hypothesis. There's no change, guys. But in the question, I think you can see the other differences. Okay? Because in the question, it provides that among these surveyed, this is provide expected, the null one. But among the surveyed, they said 100 could prefer A and 82. So there is some differences now, right? What do you have to do to find the difference between? We have to do chi-square in here because we have qualitative data. The actual frequencies is different than the expected one, right? So now we have the actual, and we have the expected, which is the null. Let's say the null sample set. This is not required in the solution, guys, but just to show you how to calculate the actual and the expected. Like when we do the null hypothesis, it's the expected one. But if we want to test our belief to see the actual, we have to do survey, for example, right? After doing survey, we find 102 preferred. So there are some differences in here, right? So let's see how to confirm these differences. We have to do chi-square table. Chi-square for multinomial single population, which is market share, right? So the rejection region is this one. See, the rejection region is same for F and X. For F test and chi-square greater than, no less than, right? It's same for all, for the ANOVA and chi-square, one rejection region. But the difference in here, we're going to use the table 6 in ANOVA and table 5 in here, and F, ANOVA, chi-square for our model case, chi-square, right? With ANOVA, remember, with ANOVA we have quantitative data, right? Here we have qualitative. See the differences? So all of this information has to be reported at the first step of the business report when you address the business report questions. Right? So we have observed frequency, right? If you go back to the question, during the survey, observe that 120, right? 120, and we have expected one, which is 90, right? Square of this value divided by the expected one. So observed frequency, or I, right? And expected frequency is the EI. Right? So for the first one, because we have 3, even in the final exam, I'll give you just maybe, not that much, but maybe I will ask you to do the next one, contingency table. It's a little bit complex. Not that much complex, but needs to work more. Anyway, this one very easy, because we have 3 different population proportions. So how to calculate the chi-square? Because we have to compare chi-square with critical chi-square to reject or accept null hypothesis. Exactly the same what we have done with the F, ANOVA, But ANOVA quantitative, here qualitative. ANOVA F, here chi-square. That's the differences. ANOVA table 6, here table 5. Got it? So once we have done the calculation manually, no Excel function to be used in here, manually. So you find that the value of chi-square equal to 8.18, right? So how to calculate a critical? Alpha, which is 5%, right? The critical has to be this one. That's the critical, it has to be in here, right? Anyway. Chi-square greater than some value. So chi-square critical equal to alpha. Normally we use 5 because it's the default one. 3 minus 1. We have 3 populations, right, guys? 3 different categories. 3 categories. So 3 minus 1 equal to 2. If you go to the table number 5, find 5%, 2 categories, you can find the chi-square critical, guys. You find it? Oh, sorry, I didn't wear the stuff. Sorry, for some reason I forgot to wear it. I think it'll be fine. Sorry. I forgot to wear the headphone. Anyway. Maybe the online students will miss the class. Anyway, if they need some help, they can email me or they can come to see me during consultation hours. That's a big problem. Otherwise, if it's not clear, guys, send me an email. If the online iLecture is not clear or you can't hear me clearly, just email me. I'll try to find some other solution, like I'll upload the last semester video. If it's clear, just please, one of you guys say it's clear. Just send me an email, say it's clear. All right? So for me, it's clear, even if I didn't hear my voice very well, so I can understand. But for you guys, I want you to be more informed. I want you to understand the iLecture as well. So please email me if there is an issue. Huh? Anyway, you find the critical issue, guys? Critical value? 3 minus 1 equal to 2 and 5. You find it, guys? You don't have your textbook with you? Oh. I find it? Oh, you read your stuff? Did you find it? Try to find it. Table number 5, right? See, 3 minus 1 equals to 2, 5, that's the cross value. Right? You find it, right? Any problem with it? Table number 5, 5% and 2. Got it, guys? So, at 5 significant level, the evidence to reject null hypothesis. Why? Because it's located in the, or lies in the rejection region. Right? Because chi-square value greater than the, it's just think like that. If it's f or chi-square greater than the critical value, reject null hypothesis. Right? This is the logic behind the rejection decision. That's advertising campaign changed. Anyway, the rule of 5 in here. This is the last part before the break. You have to meet the rule of 5. Rule of 5, the seals or the frequency of AI at least has to be equal or greater than 5. So what you have to do in your business report, you just say yes. Rule of 5 means satisfied. Rule of 5 satisfied. Just say satisfied. Rule of 5, 2 columns satisfied. Or it will be maybe related to the next step of the contingency table, because you have more than one independent, right? More than one independent operation. Anyway, would you like to have 7 minutes break, guys? Break? Yeah. Okay. Have 7, 8 minutes break and come back to finish the rest of the. That's a big problem.
Oh, the recording?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish you can hear it as well. Please remind me next class.
Yeah, sorry.
I didn't hear you as well. You say, wait, you have to wear your necklace. Please remind me next class, because otherwise, students will miss. Anyway, if anyone have any issue, come and see me. All right? During the consultation hours, or if you have some issue critically, just send me an email. Say, I want to meet with you at this time. If I'm in, I will say, come. All right? So sorry about that. I'm very sorry about that. So for the rest of the class, which is the most important one, I'll try to repeat some steps. So after finishing this module, I'll go through the business report material. I'll try to explain some stuff for you guys.
Question about histograms. Generally the question.
Yeah.
If I were to.
No, this is not.
This is too specific.
No, not specific. But if you have this sort of outcome,
Yeah.
that means it's not normal distributed.
Okay. So this.
Another question as well.
Yeah.
Before, once I saw it,
So the answer.
if it's not normal distributed, say it's not normal distributed.
So I would say not normally distributed.
Just by
like here.
yeah, and there is some outliers, so it's not normally distributed.
Okay. And we don't have to do the assignment. Doesn't say anything about estimates. It's just hypothesis testing. You can't say.
Sure. So what do you have to see whether it's hypothesis or estimates? Well, I said test, stuff. I prefer to do hypothesis because what happened? Estimation is not more used in the empirical research or studies, or if you ask to do some study to see some habits among or some issue among the community, which is the most important one nowadays, to see the response or the reaction of the community about some events or some cases like the elections or projects about one or salaries, income stuff. So you have to do tests. That means you have to see the real fact and what you expect. You have to test your belief, whether maybe if you increase, for example, the salary of the workers in some business, or you increase the mining products maybe, or increase the amount of stuff, or you open new product line with China or India or any other Asian countries, so the market shares or stuff will be increased. So you have to do some tests, hypothesis testing, right?
necessarily do estimates in those situations. More hypothesis.
No. If nowadays, if you're a statistician or you work with the financial analysis company for the financial analysis, you have to do tests. How to do tests? You have to test the real fact and the observed and the expected. Both. So hypothesis. Now we are doing a lot of research in terms of for example, the performance of the councils among committees. Or Australia, for example, we take a random sample from New South Wales, from Tasmania, from Northern Territory, WA, South Australia, and some stuff like Queensland. So we choose, for example, more than 30 councils in each state, and we have to collect some data. So how to do that, to see the performance or sustainability, we have to control for more the data effects, governments, regulations, stuff. So what we have to do, we don't just estimate, we have to do the real test. Right? So that's why hypothesis testing is more So now we have still for money laundering, for example, on investment efficiency. So let's say just estimate, we have test to what extent engaging in money laundering behaviors have an effect on investment efficiency based on firm level. But what we have in here, we have to get data about the firm, financial accounting data, and we have data for money laundering behaviors. Like in terms of the compliance with money laundering regulations or money laundering risk score. Right? So that's why we have to do testing.
So the test that we've been doing, the hypothesis test that we've been doing, they don't necessarily tell you the extent of, say, a difference. It just tells you whether or not there's enough evidence to say there is or not.
Yeah.
So it's more about, with hypothesis testing, just saying, yes, there is a difference, or there is enough evidence, or there's not enough evidence.
There's enough evidence to confirm that firm engaging with money laundering will have less investment efficiency, or firm engaging in money laundering activities will have high cost of this, because bank or capital providers, they see these firms engaging with money laundering activities, they have high risk.
Right, okay. Therefore, higher.
That's the logic behind hypothesis. Anything you look a bit tired?
Yeah.
We had 3 hours of tax before this. Yeah.
So you did right, you have to be more. Oh.
Thursday's a long day.
Yeah.
Got to do corporate accounting as well. No. I've got my solutions that I've been working on, but not that.
Now we'll see whether I think we'll have is the employment of Big Four editors depend on the type of industry? Is there any difference in Tanzania? Do companies Big Four auditors have lower cost of debt compared to companies now?
guessing that this result can well doing this. The master's like, in order to do well tomorrow, you need to show up and have some time for them time.
I've done that several times. Go and see, I lecture people. Yeah, there's a lot of trials being done before. Do you remember that? A lot. Gap width, make it 0. Right click when you have an output of the histogram. Just right click on the column, any column. Just right click. You have histogram stuff. So width. First, you have to sort the data from smallest to highest because you have to identify the bin, right?
Can you give us some advice on how many bins we should be, like how do we decide how many bins to do for a given Instagram?
Allocated from, it's allocated, it's based on the range of the data you have. You have to sort it first.
Yeah.
You have to sort the data from smallest to highest. So you just see the difference between, so put 2, 4, 6, something like that. Don't make it bigger, right? And just sort. Just imagination.
Negative 200 observation here, 400 observation here.
So no, not make it that much big because it will already come.
But for example, if our data has a wide range, we don't do
No.
bins with an increment of 2. We might do a bins of an increment of 20 or.
No, not make it like this. Just not that much. So I'm not too strict to this sort of thing. But I want you to see whether some students, they've done the stuff exactly. Some of them they didn't. So I'm not going to give some low marks or this sort of thing. So I'm too mild. But sort first and put the range. 1. See which one is. Then range. Okay. Then what? I'll do one for you guys. So like one.
Function 15.
Okay, I'll go through it. I know because it's like your exam material. I know what you want. So copy and put it in here. Right? So that's for first histogram, for first industry, for example. Consumer, secretionary accruals, right? That's accounting terms. Okay. So you have to sort. First, sort. Oh, sorry. Normal, I use custom sort from highest to smallest to highest. Yeah. So the 23, right? To put the bin in here. Bin, like 5, 10. It depends on the sort of data. So they put in a bin in here. The sort of bin. Let's cheat. The bin is 40, 50, 20. They make it big anyway. 20, 40. So, but it depends. Not that much because the one is not less than that. 200, 180, right? So that's a bin. Here, what you have to do, go to data analysis, or you can do, for example, 15, 30. It depends on the sort of data, but that's the steps. Our data is totally different, by the way. Right? So data analysis, histogram, input range, include the title. Guys, don't forget font, labels. Then
labels, output, chart. Output will be in here. So when you make it like this, they make it like this in our. So see, for the first industry, right? So just follow these steps. Don't worry about it. You want another step, right? How to reduce the gap? Okay. Okay, students. So here, right? Format data series. This one, 150, make it 0. That's it. Done?
And would you say, looking at that, that's normally distributed?
Yes, semi-normal distributed.
Because if you draw the stuff in here, guys, we say like this, it will be semi-normally.
So there's no
It's too difficult to go to one exactly like this. It's too hard in the real life, especially with accounting. Why? If you talk about, for example, cost of debt, cost of debt will be totally different among the publicly listed firms. Some of them, they have
Risk, engaging in some money laundering or
stuff, activities. Some of them, they have good reputation. They got 100%. They will have low or zero cost of debt, for example. Some of them, they have cash. No need to go and borrow money from the bank. So you find zero. That's why I ask you to sort, right? The data. So it depends. So this sort of questions will extend your knowledge about the firm adapting the regulations, corporate governance codes, because if they have good monitoring made by audit committee, 100% they will have less cost of debt. But if they're engaging in some sort of behaviors, or the CEO have some empire building issues like having high compensation package per year, or he is monitoring, controlling everything in his hand, or he is engaging in low high risk investments or less investment, quality of investment, or he just throw the money with high risk projects, so they 100% they will have high cost of debt, right? So that's why the logic behind this sort of questions is not just to find whether it's normally distributed or not, but we want to see the impact. If the firm audited by big firms, right? Any firm audited by big firm, especially with those who are specialized, for example, 100% they will go low cost of debt. Or nowadays, sometimes there is something in the generic issues within the firms itself. Even if it's audited, there's a lot of issues behind this sort of topics. So if you read some, depends on the setting. Maybe big firms. I have one paper on GCC. You know GCC? Gulf Corporation Council countries, 6 countries. Oman, United Arab Emirates, UAE, and Kuwait and stuff. They have a lot of money. But the corporate governance structure, what does it mean by corporate governance structure? The way on how to manage the corporate activities. They have low corporate governance codes. So, even if they adopt Big Four auditors, maybe it will not, still they have some risks, right? Because the way on how to manage the firm, controlled by families, for example. Families, they look after their family interest, not the other shareholders' interest. That's the logic, guys. You have to be more informed about the firm steps, logic stuff. They didn't adapt, for example, to somehow they didn't adapt the international accounting standard in detail. They didn't disclose that in their annual reports. So this is another weaknesses. So all of these sort of things, it will be evaluated by capital providers. The banks, insurance companies, real estate, they have money. They borrow money for firms, but they evaluate, they use some some statistical analysis to see to what extent they are and which level of risk, high or low risk, assessment. So it's not just, I know most of you guys will finish good, but please avoid the plagiarism. Because it will, you have to submit your annual assignment through the Turnitin, right? We already provide you with.
What referencing should we use if we use any?
I don't want any reference.
Okay.
No, I don't. Yeah, good question. Good on you. They don't put any reference. Never. I don't want to use any reference. I just want you guys to see whether when you're doing testing, you're going to reject or accept no hypothesis. Give me some other reason based on the question. There is no differences, for example, in terms of in cost of debt among the industries, for example. Right? Note down all the stuff. It's recorded, don't worry. Listen to this one later. Anyway, I want you to think from the accounting perspective. I know it's easy to run and find some stuff, but let's use our mind to imagine and read stories and stuff. This is a material of exam.
Yeah, but this is within the first 24 hours of the due date. What's that mean? Like 5%?
I'll go through the
Later.
later. If you're a bit late to when you submit your assignment, material stuff, return it in, avoid the plagiarism. All of you guys, you'll be fine. Avoid the plagiarism. It will be received by some of them at the school, and they will print it and hand it. If there's a plagiarism, they will report it. So it's not under my control. But I will mark it out, and I will release it if you have any stuff. Anyway, let's go and finish the other part of our class today. You got it now? By the way, I need 3. Put the average and the standard deviation in here. Here, just copy and put it in the Word file. You know how to copy it? Right click and copy. But I want a histogram just with the question number 2. Histogram materials and stuff. Just with the question number 2. No more histograms. Where we are? Okay. Okay. So contingency table. So what okay. For contingency table, guys, contingency used when we are going to test 2 objectives, like we have more than 2 population. So still we have qualitative. You have to report that qualitative, variable related. So 2 or more population of qualitative variables. Don't worry about this point. It will be already given within the solution. So drop that. So I forgot to delete it. Anyway. So also we have a formula to address the chi-square test with critical chi-square greater than, and also table 5 same. And we have rule of 5. But here we're going to have something different. We call it contingency table. For example, let's see with the example in here, and I will show you how to go with the question. So in here, we have an example about the Master of Accounting, right? So go through the example if you have your material in front of you guys, because there is another table. The next slide. Just have 3 minutes reading time. All right, so we have an example in here, an effort of better predict to demand. They want to see whether there is any association between the selection of the accounting program course depends on the academic background. That means in this exercise, they provide us with they have a random sample collected from the students. They provide us with the table. We have 2 variables to test: academic background, right, with 4 categories, and course selection with 3 categories, right, guys? So two variables to be tested. So that means we're going to use contingency table. This one they call contingency table. In our business report material, I think we asked for two independent variables, right? Firm audited by Big Four or non-audited by Big Four. Let me go through this exercise and I will show you how to do the material of your business report. Anyway, the data sorted into categories, but 2 independent variables are parameters to be tested in here using chi-square, which is the undergrad background that we have Bachelor of Business or of Accounting, and we have the Bachelor of Engineering. That's a background. That's the first population of interest, and this is the second one. Bachelor of Business Administration or other. So it depends on the background to select the accounting course, right? So the first, management accounting, they have 31. That's the frequency. That is the frequency. 31 students with a Bachelor of Accounting background prefer to study management accounting. 13 of them, right? Yes or no? Prefer to study with, for example, Bachelor of Accounting. Bachelor of Business Administration, 12 prefer to study or to select the, that's for the exam. Sorry, another one. Yes, Arif. So I'm all done. I'm the class. Come. Come, I'm in 402. 217. 217, sorry. Yeah, I'm in the class hour. Yeah. 402, this building, the big building. Yes, 217, 217. Right, guys? So that's the frequency. After collecting the survey, so they have 152 observations, they collect the surveys, and 60 for the business background. They prefer to study major of accounts, but it depends on the course of accounting. So this is academic background, and this is the course selection, right? So this is in total, we call it contingency table, right? So in our business report, so what we're gonna do, we asked to, because I want to explain the contingency table for you guys at this stage. We have to do the contingency table, right? So industry type, right? We have consumer discretionary, equal to 1, right? We have materials, 2, right? Yes, thank you. Done? All good? Another 2 maybe. What do you control? Thank you. Right? So materials and the other one, telecommunication, right? What do you have to do in here? This is the material. Yes. Firm audited by Big Four. Right? What you have to do? Yes, no. And put the frequency. Are you with me, guys? Put the frequency. For the first one, 68, for example. For example, 40. Anyway, this one has to be 100, I think. No, 125. I think. 25. This one, 175. I think. So with no, put the frequency. Frequency. And here the total, 68 plus 100, for example, 168. Here it has to be equal to 300, yeah. 100 in here, it will be 100, 100, 100, 300. Got it, how to do a contingency table? That's why I said to you guys last week or week before, you can't start with the business report material without chi-square. Got it, guys? Clear? Put the industry type. Audited, not audited, because I ask you to do 2 independent. Nathan, I still time. You clear? Clear, guys? Clear, huh? Easy, right? Clear?
Yeah.
No? Ask me if you don't understand it, guys. I don't want to say this specific question, but I want you guys to check how to, or to know how to address the contingency, how to build the contingency table. Because that was the material of your business report and final exam. All right? because I want to finish. So later I will show you how to. Because it's not just that. There's another table we have to calculate OI and EI, and the square root of, and the value, square value of EI minus OI minus EI, or EI minus OI. Let's see how we do it. Right? So that's the columns and rows. This is easy. Don't worry about it. This is no need in the. So there are two ways to address the rows and columns. Yeah, for sure. We address the contingency table. We have the total rows and total columns. So that is the solution. See, first, I want you guys to say two independent population, for example, maybe one or two. If it's two independent population, you have to say we use contingency table, right? Contingency table. Then after define your parameters of interest, independent contingency table. All right, guys? Want you to null hypothesis, the independent and dependent. So the two variables, students undergrad and dependent. So in here, this is the formula. How to use. This is slightly or totally different compared with the single population with multinomial tests. Here we're going to have expected observed value and expected value. How to calculate that? That depends on the total for the column times the total of rows divided by sample size. So that's the critical region. C, for all ANOVA and chi-square, we have greater than. The critical region will be greater than some value. Right? Remember, R is the rows and C is the columns. Right? So that is. Sorry. So for example, in here, guys, see, to find 31 is the observed one, because when we collect the surveys, we observe that 31 students with accounting background prefers to study management, right? So but how to calculate the expected one? Column 61, total column of the management, times 60 row divided by total number of observation. You got it, guys? Total column times total row, 60 divided by, so we get the expected one. Right? We got expected frequency. In the business report, I want you guys to show me the calculation of each expected value. That will be too much, right? So now you know how to calculate this 24? It's clear in your material, right? Mm-hmm. So, but how to calculate chi-square? We found, so what you have to do in your business report, I think it's better to calculate EI, OI. It's better to do this one and you just wait. So what I want you to do, so in the business report, after the contingency table, you put OI, calculated, EI, and EI minus OI, squared divided by N, right? This is the formula, right? For EI, yeah. the one in here. Right? I think EI, right? So here's the question. Divided by EI, divided by EI. Sorry. I think M for the previous question. Anyway, divided by EI. So calculate OI, EI, the observed, expected, and so it will be easy to use it when you calculate the formula in here, right? So OI, see? You know what I mean, guys? You just do this one here. OI, observed, expected, and right? Observed minus expected divided by expected. So 31 square value, right? So put the numbers in here. So total expected, put it in here. So I will have to go to full mark. Got it, guys? Happy with the tables? Right? But I want you guys to show me this calculation. So you don't have any reason to say, no, I don't understand. So after that, sir. Right? So chi-square, because we calculate blah, blah, blah. In the final exam, I will give you maybe just 8 observations. So it will be easy for you guys to calculate. 8 to 10. But probably 8. Okay? 8 observation, no more than maybe 8. So critical, same. 4 minus 1, 3, 2. 3 times 2 equal to 6. 6 to the 5%. It's a little bit different.
6 at 5%?
Yeah, because 4 minus 1, 3. 4 minus 1.
Is it table 5?
Same table, but here we have row minus 1 and column minus 1. So row minus column equal to 6. Okay? So chi-square greater than chi-square critical. So there's enough evidence to reject no hypothesis. Right? Got it, guys? Define specific qualitative value, input the columns, categories. So don't worry about this one. So this one how to report to check the frequency. Just steps, don't worry about it. So you can work on it, up to you. But this is the first one. Here, with the chi-square, as I said to you guys in your business report, satisfied or no? Greater than 5, satisfied. Satisfied. You just say satisfied.
Do we need to elaborate that one, like why it is satisfied, or just report?
Yeah, I want you to see. You open new date. So, assure you have to show me the calculation. Show me the calculation will be fine. So if the sales is not less than 5, so we have an example in here. So you have to combine the expected with expected and observed with observed, right? So now we have 3 categories or 3 columns and rows, so it will be two tables in here. Like we're going to combine it because here we have one value is less than 5, right? So what we have to do, combine it. So at the end, we're going to have, but this is not, will be in the material, I think, of business report. So I need to, but to show, to see how to make it to meet the condition of roll of 5, which is the seals of, this is a condition, it has to be greater than 5. Otherwise, we have to combine the tables, 2 tables. So this one is less than 5, we have to combine it with this one. So now, at the end, when we combine it, we're going to have 2 tables. See, that's a calculation. And after that, the outcomes will be see 4 with 14, 5.1 with 12.8. See, we'll combine together. Expected is expected, and observed with observed. So the values will change of this table. It will be like this. So this will be omitted totally. So that's the tables after combining the observed with observed and expected with the expected. Got it? You're welcome. So that's the material of your Model 8 today. So let's go to see some stuff about your business report. Do you have any question about our Model 8?
For the rule of 5, do we have to explain in our business report? Or?
Yeah, try to show me or give some reason or stuff. Do the stuff. Because when you do the table, you can see whether. But I think it will be satisfying because more than, we have 300 observations. So 100% every column will be, right? See how many units are there? So, okay. Guys, this is important for you. We have business report. Okay. What we have in here, business report material. So that's a story, firm audited by big firm. We have 3 industries picked up from the publicly listed firm listed in Essex, Australian Stock Exchange. Right? This is the story, it's easy. They provide some reason about the importance of the audit or the annual reports or financial reports are audited by Big Four and for those who are audited or not audited by Big Four. So this is just normal. So they provide, here's the raw or before the calculation. So we provide you with the cost of debt ready, guys. No need to do this one because it's already done. How to measure cost of debt? Interest rate or interest expense paid to the capital providers divided by total debt, right? To see whether you pay the interest rate. So we need the interest to find the interest expense. Anyway, we have cost of debt is ready. Same cost of debt or interest expense. That's the amount of money paid to the capital providers. The second one, ROA, return on assets. So because we want to see whether you have a good return or high return on investment or assets measured by net income divided by total assets. That is the measurement of ROA. Later, guys, you're going to be accountant, right? So if someone asks you how to write, trust me, a lot of students who already graduated from the uni, during the meeting or the interviews for work interviews or job interviews, they ask them some specific break-even point. And some of them, they don't know how to answer this one. How to measure ROA or ROA. You have to have some accounting background in you, so you can answer some questions when you'll be asked by the interviewers or examiners. So measured by total income or net income divided by total assets. So that's the basic leverage, total debt. For example, how to measure leverage? Total debt divided by total assets. That's one of the measurement, the common measure of the leverage, for example. So, but we don't have leverage in just cost of debt and ROA. So that's why I put this sort of variables, because it's a pure accounting. Cost of debt is one of the important accounting concepts, how to measure the interest rate paid to the capital providers. And here we have the column D is the industry group. We have 3 industry groups. So one refers to the discretionary consumer discretionary, right? Let's see. Right? So, and number 2 refers to the firms belong to the material industry sector, and number 3. So if you just go through the data, you can find first couple of firms belong to the discretionary group, consumer discretionary, and the second one, number 2, refers to the firms with the material in the material sector, and number 3, companies belongs to the telecommunication services, right? So, but what happened? We'll provide you in the column. So once you try to address the stuff, so you have to make it everyone, like when you address the another question, for example. So you have to make it every cost of debt for every column, and use the rest of stuff, which is the single factor, right? You're going to use single factor and do the stuff. If they need histogram, so you have to do the histogram. So column E, Big 4, yes or no? Audited by Big 4, we said yes. Not audited by Big 4, we say no, right? The statements does not audited by one of the Big 4 auditors, right? Or audit firms. So you need to address the following questions, guys, right? So the first question, if you're employing Big 4 audit, right? Depends on the type of the industry, right? Second question is there a difference in cost of debt among 3 cost of debt industries? That is consumer discretionary. So 3 cost of debts, and it's funny. And number 3, you're happy with these explanations, I know. Because that's why I said to you, no way to get less than 20. I'll be really upset. I will make the final exam questions very difficult. Otherwise. So, question number 3, do companies with Big 4 auditors have lower cost of debt compared to companies with, that means you have to use Excel. Listen carefully. Use Excel and check. First, see equal or unequal variance. Firm audited by Big 4, non-Big 4. And see, they check the rest. For example, T. For example, because if T, you have you go back to model 6, I think, we have two populations, or more than two populations. I think like that, I'm not too sure. For model 6, I think model 6 or stuff like that. So, if T, you have to check the critical value from the book for 3 significant levels. 3 significant levels. Right? For example, but with the Excel function in here, there is equal and unequal variance. Some function in the Excel. Data analysis. Check we already explained before for you guys. If you remember it. Equal and unequal, so you're going to have output. Put this output and use some specific. But before, say, independent, compare two independent, for example, which techniques? F, Z, say 1, U2. Right? Okay. Mean mu1 minus mean mu2 equal to somebody. For example, I don't know whether it's equal or greater than some. It depends on the nature of the question. I think for 3 or 4, it will be a little bit same. 3 or 4. Or a little bit same. Because you see, do companies with big 4 auditors have higher return on assets? See, the nature of the question is same, right, guys? I want you guys to think a little bit and see whether there's some consistency with using the stuff. Compare with company, see, the function will be used. But here you check equal or unequal variance. See the function of the Excel. Try to study a little bit with these 2 questions. You have to do something a little bit different. Because you're going to have output, Excel output, with firm audited by Big 4 or firm not audited by Big 4 for cost audit and for ROA. For both questions. Yeah. But here also use function. But with using function, you use to check the conditions first. To use the right. Once you use the right formula or the right function of Excel, you're going to have everything will be right. So no need to do histogram with these 2 questions. That's all.
So did you say
No more.
before? Did you say there's no need to do histograms for those?
No. This is it.
Okay.
You just understand. You need to be with me. I said, yeah, guys, be with me.
Yeah.
So no more complex with this stuff because the histogram will be related to the ANOVA questions. Right? You remember when we addressed the first exercise? Model 7, material, tutorial question, number 1. Right? They ask you to do ANOVA single factor and meet the condition. Right? Equal or unequal variance. Right? Biggest divided by smallest. If it's less than 1.5, that means equal variance. With the rest of the question, also you have to be equal or unequal variance to check the condition, to use the right formula. Once you use the right formula, you will know how to use which function of Excel. This one, a little bit, I want you to think about it. Got it? You have to review your lecture slides. I know no one of you guys, because he was busy with your other assignments, but also you need to spend some time with this assignment. All right? Clear? What's the due date? Huh? Yeah, 13. If you submit it after a couple of hours, you're gonna.
45%.
Yeah. Right? You will lose 5% of your total.
After 13th May, 10 a.m., right?
Yes. After 10 a.m., I will ask Evelyn to put fine. Right? You have to submit it for. So, see, the link, this link open for submission for Friday, 30 May. Okay. Tomorrow, right?
So they,
No. You can submit it tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, not tomorrow.
Yeah.
I hope we can submit tomorrow weekend. I can't finish. Okay. So the link. Further stuff regarding the, you should submit your report in the unit Blackboard website. It is located in the assessment. This is report. The link is open for submission from Friday tomorrow. So I hope you can finish it at 9. This is a term assignment. Please avoid the last semester. A semester before, 2 of my students came to me 2017. Yes. They work together. They don't want to do plagiarism, but they work together. I know. We find them. We deduct 30% of their total amount. So it's too much. But we already told them that you have to submit separately. Work together, understand the functions. It's okay. But don't. You have to report your own idea. Right? So avoid the plagiarism. Otherwise, you're going to have big fine. So avoid this one, please. What happened, Nathan? What did he say? So if a business report, so deduction of 5%, total mark allocated if you submit your report 24 hours after. Within 24 hours, you got 5%. For each additional 25 hours period, you got 10%. After 5 days, you're going to have 0. Sorry, no. I mean, I hope all of you guys are going to submit it before within the time limit. So further instructions. So report hypothesis test. So the report covers hypothesis tests for model 5, 6, 7, 8. But model 4 is important because of the sample distribution, right? Statistical analysis where hypothesis testing calculations. So this is very clear stuff. So I think we said presentation, right? We have a presentation requirement here, guys? No, you have to, no, not presentation.
Oh, you mean the report presentation?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to present it online and send it to me. The important points for each. See, this is an important point, guys. You have to test. Consider these 3 significant levels. Show the necessary calculations. You have to read the requirement of the business report. Please read it carefully and follow. So, first exercise, second one, third question, fourth question, and the presentation. How do you present? Put the summary, put the limitations if there's I think already put some stuff regarding the limitation. See, for ANOVA test, SST figures, I put everything. No one can say, I don't know, I forgot.
But then it's like another whole page of calculation to do the SST because you've got to do the grand mean. And
No, just make it very small, guys. It's very easy. You can one paper for both pages for every question. That's it. But don't make the histogram very small or too big. Just be mild, you know.
So if we don't include calculations for SST and SSE, we'll lose marks?
For sure. But I wish you guys, you will do so. It's easy and clear now. I think no one can say, it's not clear or stuff. Right? So what's the important other points, guys? Marking criteria. It's already done. See? This is how to reject and accept a hypothesis. Highlighted, guys, right? Total marks 50, 25 of your total will be allocated. So each question have 10 marks. 4-mark presentation. See, put presentation, put interpretation and limitations. So introduction, statistical, I want you to see introduction, statistical analysis, calculation. And then another 6 marks will be allocated. So put introduction for the presentation part, last page, last part of your assignment. Put the introduction, like presentation, underline, all right? Put introduction, statistical analysis, conclusion, right? Another part, put interpretation and limitation. Interpretation, put some interpretations, underline, put your interpretation, and limitations, put your limitations. Like, for example, with the limitations. Like, for example, not all histogram, or maybe all histogram is not normally distributed. This is a limitation. The data will cover just 1 year, not a couple of years. For example, this is a limitation because we want to see the panel cross-sectional and time series. And statistics we prefer to do for panel. What does it mean panel? Like we want for every firm for a couple of years. So now we have just 1 year, right? For example, there's a limitation because we want to the effect. Maybe the firm will adapt cost of debt next year, January 2020, for example. So we want to see the effect of time series effect. So such a limitations. Right, guys? Should be discussed. So put a couple of limitations. And we need to be more organized, like put the presentation and in the title highlighted with a bold color and put introduction, statistical conclusion, limitations, and conclusions and interpretations and limitations. In 1 page, so you got 4 marks for and 6 marks for 6 marks for the limitations, I think, and stuff, right? Interpretation limitations. Do we have more stuff?
So you want us all of our working out separate to the report part at the end?
Pardon?
All of the working out and calculation at the top? And
No, every question, you put the parameters of interest, define, like independent, chi-square stuff. And then, do you have condition to meet in here? Report it. Oh, right, jump. Yeah. We have to say satisfied. Row 5, right? Because this stuff greater than 5. Put the hypothesis. Meaning no hypothesis equal variable 1 equal to variable. For example, this one, the null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Then use the formula. If it's F, use F. You can put the tables or output Excel tables as appendix for the same question. Like put calculation in the next page. Because the first page, I'll show you. In the first page, for example, first step, do you remember I provided you with the steps before? Like define the parameters of interest, right? Like independent, chi-square, right? Or like ANOVA, or which one, or, right? This is the first step, define parameters of interest. If it's chi-square, multinomial or contingency. If it's ANOVA, treatment or block design, randomized block design, right? So I want you to extend your explanation. Here, satisfied. If it's ANOVA, we're going to have which one? Greater than, condition.
Like
If it's ANOVA.
large standard deviation.
right? Greater than 1.5 or less than, I mean, equal or unequal variance, right? The third steps, hypothesis, right? Null and define the hypothesis and alternative, right? Depends if it's ANOVA or single factor or stuff. So which sort of hypothesis you're going to use? For example, mean mu1 equal to mean mu2 equal to mean mu3, right? At least two differ. Two means differ, right? ANOVA, do you remember it? Okay, now use F test, for example. If it's ANOVA, okay, which F test you're going to use? If it's treatment, you have here. This is the steps. Use calculate MST. If you want to use the stuff, this is the first page, right? Page. Question 1, right? Put all of this step and the page after. So, for example, I want blank pages. This is the question 1 in here. This is the first page. Here, the second page, put the ANOVA output in here. But inside the first page, put all of this stuff. MST, MSE values.
When you say, what do you mean ANOVA output? Oh, from Excel?
Yeah.
Okay.
For example, if you use Excel, right? You're going to use MST, MSE, right? Put it in the next page. Call it ANOVA summary, for example. It's same name from the Excel output. Same name. Put it in the second page as appendix, but within same question. Don't put it at the end as an accumulated work for all questions. No. Every question, the first page is the steps of solution. So here for test, right? 5. Use the 5 C critical, right? Critical region, right? F greater than F alpha K minus 1, for example. And then put the critical value. Put the critical region and the calculation. Critical F, right? 6, decision. Reject null hypothesis, for example. Null hypothesis, okay? 7, conclusion. There is enough evidence to reject null hypothesis because blah, 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 blah. With the critical 5, critical region, put the form of the critical region, and put the critical value of F from at 1%, 5%, 10%. That's the steps. This is first page. Second page, flip. When I flipped the paper, I found the summary of the output. Right? You can, here, the formula, you can put it in the, just put the formula in the back. Just put the formula in the back. Right? Use the value MST and MSE of the table. But F critical, but I want you to show me the M, like F for treatment, MST divided by, just put the formula. Don't put this, because it will, the solution already provided by the single factor. One way ANOVA, right? So I want you guys to just provide me with the formula. Which formula are you going to use? Okay, good. But I want you guys to show me the critical value from the textbook. Don't use the one from the Excel. I will zero. This is my ability. If I jump this step, that means I will say use it. But I think, do you have a question about it? It's clear now, right?
Introduction
No, it's-
above all of this.
The first one, just define parameters of interest, like independent to, quantitative samples, and sort of things, like treatment, ANOVA one way. Second, the condition. Which condition, if you ANOVA, that means equal or unequal variance. Well, that's the condition. The third steps are hypothesis. Mean 1 equal to mean 2 equal to mean, yes.
So when it says introduction, statistical analysis,
This is the presentation.
at the end.
Yeah, that's separate stuff
This
at
is
the end.
separate at the end.
Read the material of the business report. And it will be,
So follow this procedure for each question on the board here.
yeah.
And then at the end, introduction, statistical analysis,
Just
conclusion.
don't put introduction like introduction for paper published in Journal of Accounting and Economics.
Yeah.
No, just short. Like 1 page, less than 1 page. Just 1 page is enough. But be more organized. Follow the steps. Put introduction, conclusions, like techniques, analysis, conclusion, interpretations, and limitation. Because I want to put 1 mark for each. Some of them last semester just put everything as a 1 paragraph. So I don't know which one is the introduction, which one is the analysis, which one is the interpretation. So I want you guys to divide your presentation into 5 parts. Like give 2 or 3 marks each.
At the end, the statistical analysis is just what? Is a summary of the results from the previous 4 questions?
Yes, say like blah, blah,
We decided this because of these
Yes,
reasons.
yeah, give some, just summary. Summary.
Okay. All right.
I wish you all the best. And no less than 20. Otherwise, I want you to do so like what you have done in the business report and the mid-semester test. One exam will be less easy, very easy, because there's a mock exam with the solution steps, and we have 1 day to revise all the material, and we will discuss more during the class, and you will note a lot of stuff, you know. You're going to put a lot of notes, so it will help you to address the stuff. So again, for those who miss the our model today or the materials for the business report, so please don't hesitate to email me, or I prefer you come and see me during consultation hours. So next week I will be in, so come down during consultation hours if you have any issue with the report, your business report. So go to the contact so you can find me. It's Thursday from 10 to 12. Thursday 10 to 12 a.m. not p.m. So Friday 1:30 to 3:30. But don't come at 3:15, please. Some of them they came at 3:20. So please, Friday is a good day, right?
Yeah.
Or good
Absolutely.
Friday. You have any
Yeah.
questions?
I've got heaps of questions, but I don't think you can answer them.
All the best, guys.
Yeah.
I will see you next week. Now clear, guys, right? The steps? Clear, huh?
That's what it's referring to. That's what it's referring to.
You can explain to me.
No, I need someone that I know just
Yeah.
referring to basically